I want to thank everyone for tuning in. We want to give thanks to our sponsors. First and foremost, Children Defense Fund. We like to give thanks to Irate and Bridge Media. We like to give thanks to St. Mark, St. John, Beechwood Neighborhood Families and Friends, and our person tonight here giving us a whole lot of information because she wears many, many hats. One of her many things and many charities and many productions that she would like to give thanks to is Caring for the Caregiver. Caring for the Caregiver is something that she is doing now. Caring for the Caregiver is something we'll talk more about tonight. Without further ado, I will just introduce our guest.
Lynette
we have
Robinson.
Lynette Robinson.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity to be able to talk about the caregiver. That's my focus. It's the caregiver that, not the professional caregiver, not the person that's paid like the health aide, the home health aide, or the nurse or the doctor, but I'm talking about the family and friends that go into a house and take care of their loved ones. They're not recognized, they're not paid, they have a huge commitment. It's very stressful, and I'm here to help that caregiver to be able to de-stress themselves and to take care of themselves. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you certainly can't take care of the person that you're committing yourself to.
Now, did you hear what Miss Lynette said? She's helping the caretaker take care of themselves to take care of others. We have a big fill and demand for caregivers, and we have no big demand for things to help the caregiver or
Right.
people to help the caregiver, but we expect the caregiver to be there to care for someone. And what about them? And then she says, so how does she does these things? So let me give you a little bit background on Miss Lynette so you can know who she is and how does she does these things. So she has a bachelor's, a BS in marketing and management from Siena College. She also is the president of Anthony Square Block Club. She's also a former board member of Providence. She's also a former co-chair of Southwest Common Council. She's also the VP of Changing of the Scenes Neighborhood Association. And that's something you're working with now, right? Changing of the Scenes.
Yes.
Got you.
We are.
Along with caring for caregivers?
It's actually, the name
There
of
it
my business is Lanata Consulting and Caregiver Planning.
So let me say it again. Lanata Consulting, Caregiving, and Planning.
Caregiver Planning.
Caregiver planning.
Caregiver. The caregiver has to plan for what they are going to do. So they make a plan. So caregiver planning, I help them plan. There's 5 steps. We've devised, and I had assistance with this from 2 other professionals from Rochester Professional Group, and we did some research and we focused in and we talked to other caregivers. We did some focus group work, and we came up with a flower, because it's nice, and it has 5 petals, and the 5 petals represent the 5 stages that the caregiver actually goes through. So the first stage is I can't, and then you say I'll try, and then you say I need help, and then you say I'm empowered, and then you say I'm released. So I can't, right? Let's use the example. I'm going to go to why I do this. I do this now, and it's completely different from my bio, what you've read about me in the past. This is more person-centered that I do now, and I do it on my own because my mother got sick.
I was just going to ask you that. What is a caregiver to you, and why did you decide to become a licensed caregiver?
Okay, so there is no licensed friends and family caregiver.
Okay.
You do some training if you are getting if you're on somebody's payroll. One of the fiduciaries, one of their payrolls.
Gotcha.
But otherwise, many of us are just there taking care of our family.
Gotcha.
And we may not be on a payroll. But
So just to clarify, she's saying, she's family taking. So to be a caregiver, you don't have to be all this licensed, certified. You'll get trainings to do this job. If you have L family, you can be their caregiver.
right, you could be their caregiver. You could go to like Freedom Care, or I hate to say the name of an organization because I'm not very fond of them, but you can go to one of the fiduciary organizations and get paid to be a caregiver. And then they offer training, but there's also other trainings that are offered, on how to care for a person at home. But a lot of it is common sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know how your mother took care of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know the things that were going on in your house, how to eat, how to prepare food,
Mm-hmm.
where the refrigerator is,
Mm-hmm.
keeping the bathroom clean,
Yeah.
all of those things. So now instead of your mother doing it for you as you were growing up, you're doing it for her
Mm-hmm.
because she's older now.
Okay.
So your roles have switched. Like my mother used to say to me, "Yes, mother." And I would say, "I'm not your mother. I'm just trying to take
Trying to
care
help
of you."
you.
Yeah, I was just trying to take care of you. But those roles definitely switched in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important because, you have to recognize where you are
Mm-hmm.
in those roles. So the first pedal is I can't do this by myself. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to take care of a person. So I need help. That's the second one.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is you recognize that you say you can't do it, but you really can.
Mm-hmm.
So you begin to recognize that you really can because you're in a sense obligated through your heart, through your spirit, and that's your parent. So you're going to take care of them, or that's your loved one. So that's where the obligation comes in. I'm not saying that it's something that you have to do because you don't have to do it.
Gotcha.
But when you do, you begin to realize that you actually can, but you don't know how to, so you ask for help.
Gotcha.
And that's where someone will call me and they'll say, where do I start? What do I do? How do I do this? And then I help guide a person along the way to recognize what they're doing, what they need to do differently. And when they get help, a person will then build their circle of support. So they become the CEO of the care, of that person's care. So they are the head of the doctors,
Mm-hmm.
the medicines,
Mm-hmm.
the transportation,
Mm-hmm.
the food services, the physical, self-care, care services,
Personal hygiene. Yeah.
personal hygiene
Yep.
services,
ADLs. Yeah.
all of that. They're now the CEO of. So you got to put all of this together because you can't do it all.
Right.
Don't try to do it all because if you do, you're going to burn yourself out very fast. So you build your circle of support.
Gotcha.
This is a person maybe from church that could go grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm.
This is a person that can help me when I need time. They could take my family to the doctor. So you build that circle of support that's always there to help you. That's when you need help, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you become empowered because now you have that circle of support. You have that help, and now you've empowered yourself, so you feel good about what you're doing.
Gotcha. So in this work, because I know taking care of people is stressful, and like you said, you're now diving into the part where you're helping caregivers take care of themselves. And so along those 5 petals, you're saying that they're building, and I'm just clarifying for the people what you said.
Sure.
You say in these 5 petals, basically, once you build the 5 petals, it's basically building a community of people to help you in the work that you do. So like you said, if you are that person taking care of your mother and you don't have the time to go do that grocery shopping, or you may not have that time that day to go do that range of motion with her, you got, along these 5 petals, someone who you can call that maybe can step in at that time. And it can be family members and friends, because remember when we started out this dialogue, she said a caregiver, there's really no difference in a caregiver and a care specialist. You don't need a license or a certification to do things you were taught to do as a kid for yourself that now you're in return doing for your parent or for your aunt or for your uncle or for your cousin or your niece,
Exactly.
someone who can't care for themselves. And
Exactly.
so, so basically, in other words, in more words, are you saying like, basically taking the care of your loved ones out of the hands of someone else and really putting it in your hands and not making it a burden, because there's a lot to take care of people. And that, I think, is that, would you agree, is that the reason why a lot of people nowadays don't care for their family members, because of the thought of the burden, okay, taking care of their finances and taking care of, just so
Yes.
many different things.
Yes, and if you're not organized, and if you're letting it stress you out, then you won't be able to do it properly. And caregivers have a higher rate of death and of illness than a non-caregiver does,
Wow.
especially like heart disease,
Uh-huh.
yeah, and mental illness, because it's a very stressful position to be in. So that's why I'm here to help. And what I do is, so I do our podcast, which is Care for the Caregiver, and we are on YouTube and on Instagram, and they're little short bits of information to be able to help you, because there's so many areas that the caregiver needs support in, and so many areas to understand where you have to step in to take care of your loved one. That I can share little bits of information. Then if you need more, what I'm going to do, I have allergies.
That's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
It's allergy season.
It's
It's allergy season.
yeah.
It's allergy season.
I have, and that's another thing. I had when I was taking care of my mom, when these allergies come down, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get it and do this for you. It was
You was
easy to
able to
pick
go
up
to
the
that
phone.
pedo?
Yeah, it was easy to pick up the phone and call and say, I need help right now, right?
Got you, right?
And because if you don't, this could get worse, right?
Right. So again, not to cut her off, she has a podcast herself. It's called Care for the Caregiver.
Care for the
She
caregiver.
said they're not that long. You can go on if you haven't, a brain fired, or you're getting frustrated with some things, or something isn't right when talking to the doctors, or talking to someone's finances, someone about your family finances, anything. Tune in to Care for a Caregiver. You might find something that you're looking for in there, some dialogue on what you need. So Miss Lynette is educated. Like I said, she's very diverse in all the work she's done. We've named a little bit of them, and you see she's like aged out. You heard me say former, and she's still doing the work. She's actually working at the Covenant right now, right?
Right, at the convent, at
Convent.
Mercy. Yeah,
And,
Sisters of Mercy.
such an amazing thing. So, no, this is a great woman, because the Sisters of Mercy are like grand, like the Sisters of Mercy, they do, do.
Yes.
So you're telling me that those women are where you're starting with helping care for the caregiver along with yourself?
Actually, I'm not starting there, because it actually started when I took care of my mom. My whole life changed. And afterwards, I took a class at clinical pastoral education, simply because I just didn't know what to do with myself after my mom passed. And I took that class. And so since then, I've taken a class in geriatrics. Okay, so the name is so long. And it's with Finger Lakes at the University of Rochester. And it's integrated. Oh, I can't remember the name of it, and I don't want to get it wrong, right?
No problem.
But it's so long. So I did take that class in understanding geriatrics and dementia. So yeah. So with that, I did. I was applying for a job as a clinical pastoral person, and I was on Indeed, and Mercy contacted me if I wanted to come there. So I'm a community advocate at Mercy, so I advocate for the sisters.
Okay.
To make sure that their needs are being met. So I'm like their caregiver.
Yeah.
But
Like
they
I said,
also
like
have
what you
the
did for
aides
your
that
mother.
work there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like you said, you're more so like an advocate, a
Yeah.
bondsman. Like, I love that, because the sisters were caregivers,
Yeah.
for others for so long.
Yes.
And then what a way to like give back, like you said. So do you have any memorable moments in this profession that you like, besides, your mom and getting into the work, and the reasons for doing it?
I don't have any specific memorable moments, because there are so many, but it's just to excuse me, it's just to be able to communicate with a person with dementia and to actually know that they are understanding what you're saying and to see them smile and respond, that they are cognitively aware of your presence with them. That is wonderful. And that I she was diagnosed with MS
Okay.
at the age of 80.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but now I deal with a lot of, dementia and those cognitive illnesses. But it can be it can be stressful if I'm not taking care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I also look at it from the other side as to what I'm blessed with to be able to bring happiness
Mm-hmm.
and to bring a quality of life to people that otherwise would not have that, because many people do not understand dementia or aging out,
Mm-hmm.
and they get very irritated
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have the tenacity or the loving kindness to deal with people like
Gotcha.
that. So I don't know. It's in me. I
Mm-hmm.
have it, and I enjoy it.
So, what are some of the misconceptions that you think around caregiving are around? Like, what are some misconceptions of the professional field of caregiving?
Not understanding what people are going through or not caring. I see a lot of that. People
That's a
just
big
don't
one.
care, and I
People
keep.
just don't care. Listen, people, my people just don't care. The caregiving field, I was a certified nursing assistant for 10, 12, probably 10 to 12 years. I'm vested in the field because you gave it 10, you'll be vested. So when I
Right,
retire.
right.
But I could not stay in it long, and not because of the work. It was because of, as the years went on, the people that dive into the work. Since it was such a demand for the work, the
Yes.
requirements for it started to lessen, and they just, it just the quality. It's like people forgot that they're dealing with people, and as if they were property. And so, like, I couldn't stay in that work and see it because, like, it was drawing too many
Yeah,
problems for me.
they just don't care. But one of the things that I say when I see a person acting in that behavior is that, remember, if you live long enough,
You'll need somebody too.
you'll need somebody too.
That's
And
right.
karma is
Hmm.
does not play.
It's real.
It's
It's
real.
not, it's you reap what you sow.
That's right.
If you sow a bad seed, you'll get a bad
You're gonna
seed
get it
back.
back.
It's coming back,
It
whether
may
in the
not be
flesh or in the
immediately,
spirit. Yeah,
but
it's
when you get
coming
70,
back.
80, or 90 years old, you're going to be sorry.
Yes, it comes back. It comes back. So again, back to the topic: caring for the caregiver, and actually in the field. So what we were just giving dialogue on is actually, you have to. People don't care anymore. They really stop caring, and people stop spreading love. So you have to.
Right,
And one of those reasons is, though, one of the reasons why you're doing your work, because burnout. You're there taking care of someone else, but who's taking care of you? You know what I'm saying?
right,
That void. As a people, I don't think people genuinely want to be nasty or don't want to do their job. I think it's just life and where they're at in life and not getting the help, not having that five pillars, or having that village, you know what I'm saying? Because
right.
I've come to learn that, since I'm growing and growing in life, like, your family, you feel like, that's your village. But sometimes, the family do not be your
Ooh.
village. Come on now. Or your so-called friends. Once you get, I'm serious, right, Miss
You're right.
Robinson?
You're
I'm
absolutely
trying to
right.
tell you. So with that being said, and until people realize that, and as a people, we have to realize that, just because they're called family, you have to go and build your community and your village and family of people, and not for, the things you think you need. Like you said, for it's the little nothings. Hey, I might need you to come over and go run that laundry, or go up to the hospital and make sure, this, or,
Right, right.
run and go, pick that up and drop it off. The little things like that, not calling you, let me get $500 I'm trying to go to, or I'm trying to get the new,
Right,
honestly,
right. Exactly.
exactly,
And that's what we talk about. And so when you build that you're calling it a village, I call it a circle of support.
Come on.
You may not, don't call your family first. Call, what I did is I realized that I stood up in church when it's time for announcements. And because I was at a job, I am not going to mention the name of the company or the name of the boss that I had.
Okay.
But I will tell you that when my mom, her first downfall, when I realized that she was sick, she had to go into the hospital. She was on ICU, but when she got off ICU and came out of the hospital, she went to the nursing home for rehab. So by the time she got to rehab, she couldn't eat on her own. So I would go in the morning and feed her, and leave at lunchtime and go back and feed her, and then go at dinner time. Well, my boss found out that I was leaving at lunchtime, and she told me I can't leave the premises at lunchtime. And I told her she must be out of her mind. And so I still left, and it built a rift between us. But I really didn't care because we're my priorities, right? And she wanted to have control, and I was not going to give her that control, and I wasn't going to stress myself out over it either. So what I did was I found a solution for that, and I stood up in church at announcements and asked if I could get a list of people Monday through Friday that could go at noontime to the nursing home and feed my mother lunch. I got a month's worth of people.
Look at there.
A month's worth of people. It was just so easy, and they're like, "Is there anything else do you want me to do?"
Look at there. Taking care of the caregiver. So the solution that she found for herself. Here it is in so many of us, because I've dealt with it like several times on the job. These jobs and the people, they come in, they forget the title, and they just want to control you.
Right.
They just want to control you. And with that being said, now you could have flipped off the hat, quit the job, everything, you know.
Right.
You found the solution because of you know how to take care of the caregiver.
Right. I found a solution
Check
for
out
that.
the podcast. Check out her podcast, Caring for the Caregiver.
Right.
Caring for the caregiver. I like that solution because, like, we deal with irate people on the job all the time, and I be trying to, because I'm a lead, and there's other leads that really can't deal with people that's hot, but I try to understand and explain to them that it's what those people are going through.
Right.
It's never you. The job is too easy. What you said wasn't me. It's just that they're going through something, and they don't know how to cope with it, or they don't have the solution.
Exactly.
They don't have the solutions because of might be caring for children, grandchildren. Life is hard. We must admit it. We all admit it. Caring for the caregiver. Look out for that podcast. Go out and check it out. We have to come with solutions. Life is hard, and it's just not like, okay, it's going to work its way out. We have to do things that are healthy.
Right.
To resolve these things.
Eating healthy.
Exercising. Okay.
Mental health. Maybe some yoga. Mental health, or just reading, listening to the new sounds that are on the YouTube. The sounds.
Oh, okay, like the earth.
The
sounds,
water
like
sounds.
The water sounds.
That's great. Yeah.
I think they call them like relaxing
sounds.
Relievers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Doing all kinds of stuff. And so one of the other things that I do is, in the consulting side, is I help the caregiver when their loved one is at home to be able to design a room to care for them in. They may need a small refrigerator. They may want to actually build a room, or have a room where you have, especially if you need access to a washer and dryer, you could bring that up. That's what I did for my
big,
mom.
Because when I was a senior, I was a rehab aide, and it was a lot of people that couldn't go home because of those reasons. The house wasn't equipped, and you don't have nobody to fight for. So just because the house is equipped doesn't mean it can't be.
That's right.
You see what she said? She made sure, okay, if it needed to have a refrigerator or it is accessible, like she got it. I heard that so many times. And that's the reason why a lot of people didn't go home.
Right.
And, and in my head, I knew, like, okay, if the money's there, like, why couldn't they do these things? So there's only certain things that they will suggest. But if you got somebody that's there helping care for the caregiver, then these are things that you can suggest to the people, like, okay, as a caregiver, you know, and we're talking about, you know, when your family or loved one goes into a nursing home or to a hospital and they need in rehab and possibly supposed to come home, or the hospital is saying, oh, they can't come home because of these things. Because hospitals will do that. I don't want to dive in. I don't know why I want to get in trouble, but I know because hospitals will do that. And once you become aware of the hospital, they want you to like sign over all of your
in the nursing home.
Yeah.
If you have any assets.
If you have any assets, they want to sign it over.
So those are some of the things that we talk about in the podcast.
Yeah,
those are some of the things that we talk about. We cover a whole gamut of all kinds of information. So and if you ever need to share, I do want to start the symposium again, and that's where I gather people. The common theme is you're a caregiver, and we sit in a room and we talk. And the first time I did it was right before COVID. I was planning another one and COVID hit. And I actually had little packages of tissue, and I had to go get some more because it was so intense, and people were sharing and just sharing and sharing and getting information. So that's what I want to do, be able to share and to get information so that you can go home feeling empowered.
All right, guys. So thank you for tuning in tonight. Again, we have Miss Lynette Robinson. Tune into the podcast, Caring for Caregivers. It's on YouTube. Miss Lynette, it's on YouTube
yes.
and Facebook?
I'm sorry.
Care for the Caregiver.
Caring for the Caregiver. Yes. And it's on Instagram, and we're on Instagram, YouTube,
Twitter.
All
right. Please go check it out. Like, you don't have to check it out now. You go check it out when you need it. Caring for the Caregiver. We're all caregivers every day. If you have a family, you are a caregiver. Just when you got some time, check out the podcast. Miss Lynette Robinson with Caring for the Caregiver. Have a good